Hello hero, it's Lucy Lannon. Sorry if you can hear any noise outside, it's really unavoidable at the moment because a building works on my road. But this is your reading for the first quarter moon in Pisces, the Birch moon of December 2023, and moving into the waxing period sort of after that in the next few days, leading up until my next reading, which will be at the full moon. I'm pulled to hold my carnelian before this reading, and I wasn't before, so some of you may want to work with this stone. I'm just going to pop it over here so that it can join in. What do I want to say? We're going to use the manara today, so I am going to cover some of it with quartz crystals, which I will just go and fetch actually, because it is an explicit deck and I don't want YouTube to ban me or put me on any kind of warning. We don't want any nuddies, but also if you're not over 18, this might not be the one for you, right? Might be good to go to one of my other lunars, whichever one you feel drawn to in the playlist, and just see what that's about instead. Right, 2 seconds while I get a crystal. Right, back in business. We are also using the Caroline Miss Carolyn Mace archetype deck, as well as the This Day I Am cards, my DIY love deck, which doesn't need to be for love and doesn't need to address you directly, so don't take any of the messages in it personally. And also, as with last time, I'm going to use McDonald's double cards that my friend got in a Happy Meal, purely because she told me that I wouldn't be able to read with them, and I said, nonsense, I will, in a less nice way than that. So they're weighing in as well this month. If you like them, I guess they'll stay. If not, then we'll do something else next month. I think last month's cycle we did a Bob Ross card each time as well. So, you know, give me feedback on what it is that you enjoy, guys. Do you want to see more of Bob, more of double animals, more of something else? You do you. Let me know in the comments, okay? And 3 in sequence. That's interesting. All right. 4 in sequence, I'm told. Is it that one? Yeah. It's the next blue one. Right colour, wrong card, apparently. There we go. Let's move this over here. I'm kind of putting these out last because I know I'm going to have to cover them. Oh, so we've got a trickster in the light, which is transcending convention, stuffiness and predictable behaviour. We've got a let's be best friends. We've got my actions have a way of slipping through the cracks. That's interesting with trickster. Then we've got I can't trust you anymore. Can we be exclusive, please? Again, doesn't have to be a love reading, but take what fits for you, because this is a general reading for a large audience. Take what resonates, leave the rest for someone else. Then, okay, so confirmation animals for you this time may include spider, which was here last time, bat, flamingo, hedgehog and cat, but the main one this time is, I want to call that alligator rather than crocodile because it has a slightly distinct meaning for me. And then in terms of This Day I Am, what have we got, guys? What are we doing this month? Actually, is it that one? No. What is that about? It's the right colour, but it's a different card. There's something for you guys in the way of mundane messages about you've chosen the colour of something correctly, but it's the wrong item, or you've got the right item, but it's in the wrong colour, or there's something about like the type of something being slightly different to what was desired, but fitting the bill anyway. So I hope that resonates for someone. Then This Day I Am being indulgently romantic. One of the DIY ones. So this is also about creating your own sense of romance. So again, we are following on from last week, and this is a romance deck, right? So that might fit in as well. We shall see as we go. Okay, so you want to come out, dear? All right. First one is the Hermit, which is not explicit. Yes. Actually, I'm not going to shuffle these on camera just in case. Then we have, this one wants to pop out. Oh, blimey. There we go. So a 5 of Wands. And a guy having a very overwhelming time by the looks of it. And this one wants to come out for the next one, actually. A 3 of Swords. Then we've got a 9 of Pentacles. Oh, wow. This one always seems to come out with me. Let's get a more opaque crystal, shall we? This is a man receiving an overwhelming amount of medical attention, more than I think he's capable of handling right now. Let's cover his face as well because there's something sat on it. So this is the Seven of Wands. Obviously not going to move these around too much today, guys, so I do apologise if it's not all exactly on camera, but for obvious reasons I need to leave them undisturbed. Is it this one? It's this one. No, it is that, and then that's for the next one, is it? Okay, sorry guys. So then we've got the Sun, which is fine because this woman may look like she's got a bare bum, but I can tell that that's just that she's wearing a G-string, so we're going to put that there just in case YouTube disagree with me. We've got a Knave of Air. So the Knave, I believe that is the... Let me just check with the rest of the deck. Come on, give me a Knight, guys. Yeah, I think that's a Page of Swords. I'm going to read it as a Page of Swords, unless we pull different, that's what I'm going with. And then again, somebody in a G-string. Let's get an opaque stone, not a magnifying one. With the Seven of Swords. This is entertainment in itself, isn't it? Seeing me struggle to cover all of this. Then your last tarot card, before we actually get to my interpretation, is the Four of Wands. And a man eating a lovely snack while a woman does something with her face. Wicked. Right. I'm going to meditate on these for a quick sec. You will not feel the cut. Alright guys, so for some of you this will be a love reading, but for many it's just sort of speaking about a dynamic with somebody. And it's interesting because the last reading was very self-focused, very sort of spiritually based. And this one seems to be more about revealing the truth in a communication dynamic. But I dare say that if you were the person last time round at the beginning of this moon who had to take a retreat from someone specific or from a certain line of communication in order to find out what was problematic for you or in order to draw boundaries, this may be a continuation of that kind of energy in reference to this. So if that feels like it hits and you haven't seen the new moon for this month, it's the new read in, what was it in? I think it was in Sag, and it will be the last lunar anyway on the playlist, sort of as this goes out. Okay, so this could be, this is a trickster energy, right? So someone who's a bit slippery, sometimes in the best way, you know, they do transcend convention, they do transcend stuffiness, they are unpredictable in a fun way, but also I feel like they can be a trickster in a bit of an iffy way, in terms of being a little bit too slippery to get a grip on when it comes to their motives, right? My actions have a way of slipping through the cracks. And I'm seeing that with Spider, which for me can be a symbol of somebody doing stuff that is a bit energetically shifty rather than overtly shifty. So this will be someone, again, not to scare anyone, right? Because this isn't happening for everyone. Take what hits for you. But for some of you, it's someone who would be sending evil eye or who would be doing something not so nice kind of under the surface of things or behind your back, even if that's something like shit talking, rather than being straightforward about their slipperiness, right? This is not someone who would betray you to your face, but it's still someone that you might not have any trust for as a result of their former actions. Or indeed, this could be, if you're a cross-watcher, this could be like how somebody's feeling about you right now, and you're aware that you need to earn back their trust. But this is your kind of guidance on maybe how not to do that, right? I feel that this person wants your friendship at the very least, whether they're a friend, family member, love interest, colleague, you name it. They want there to be that dynamic between you that's a continuation of whatever used to be between you in the positive sense. Because I can't trust you anymore implies that perhaps you once did, right? You used to trust this person and then something happened and now you see them as a little bit shady. But I feel like the way that this person is going about trying to re-earn trust, with this being indulgently romantic and can we be exclusive, is either to love bomb you, if that resonates, or if it's not a romantic connection, it's to kind of keep you to themselves and just shower you with attention, affection, an increase in communication, a sudden turnaround in how you guys spend time together. They may buy you gifts, they may take you places that they formerly didn't seem interested in. There's just some kind of energy of, I'm hearing the phrase making up for lost time, and actually that came out of the mouth of someone that I no longer trust. And it ended up being a promise that wasn't fulfilled. So it's like, it's that, right? It's, I want to make up for lost time. I want to do all these things. I want to be sweet with you. But it feels like all talk, or it feels like that's a really big promise for how the recent behaviour has been up until this point. And I think that if you are the person who doesn't quite trust this and who's receiving it, Spirit may be telling you you're on the right track here, in terms of just reserving your energy until this person shows themselves, right? The phrase, again, that I'm hearing is, what is it? It's like, I can hear it, but not the wording, if that makes sense. It's something like, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And this is very much applicable to that person. So kind of as a side note from a lot of this is going on with you. And I think that, again, if you needed to take that step back in the first part of the month from people more generally to see where your tower was, where your lightning rod was for trouble, and what it was that you were being a slave to, this is your answer, right? If it wasn't made explicit then, this connection is a draining thing. If you're on the flip side of this and you want to make things up to a person, you want to be best friends again, you know you've been a bit slippery, you know they don't trust you anymore, my advice to you would be to try not to monopolise this person's time. Try not to be completely exclusive with them, romantically or otherwise, at first, and instead concentrate on not just indulging them, but indulging the idea of the version of you that is a better person, right? So better man, better woman, trickster in the light, not trickster in the shadow. So we're avoiding manipulation, we're avoiding duplicity, which also includes avoiding putting on a big performative act of how you're going to make it up when that's not you either, right? So if you really want to earn someone's trust, I invite you to come to them with complete authenticity rather than with the spirit of making up for lost time or making up for things in this demonstrative way. There's a sense here of just being you, even if that feels inadequate right now, is going to be the best thing for this. And actually that does transcend convention and tip you into the trickster in the light, right? Because we think of somebody maybe turning up with flowers or doing big gestures to say, I'm sorry. And that can come off as even more shifty, even more shady. Whereas stepping in at the level of friendship and saying, hey, can we just carry on where we left off? And I will demonstrate over time that I'm trustworthy. I think this person's going to feel a lot safer with that than they are with like a flash mob, right? Do you get what I mean? So just stay in that energy. I think it's possible to regain trust, but I also think it's going to be a sort of long road of steady progress instead of a lot of big gestural stuff in the beginning and then that. And again, if you're on the flip side of this, just watch this person carefully and make sure they're capable of being steady. Alligator to me is sometimes about defense. Certainly I've used alligator in magical defense before, but it can also be about kind of having your eyes above the water and swimming perfectly, which translates in hermetic terms to seeing the reality above your emotions, but navigating them with ease, right? You're able to swim through what your mood is, what your deep feelings are, what your history with a person is, what the level of bond was, or indeed the level of betrayal was, and navigate all of that and feel it fully, whilst also seeing above the surface to your prey, which I'm going to sort of refer to as your goal, right, in this instance. So the alligator, or for some the crocodile energy, can see what it's after but still be swimming, right? Swimming being navigating that subconscious mind or that emotional landscape of being triggered in a relationship or feeling particularly deeply about a person in either direction, right? So then we've got a hermit, a 5 of wands and a 3 of swords, which I think speaks back to this. There's somebody who took time away, solitude. That may be you, it may be them, but it was after a fight of some kind, certainly a period of overwhelm, maybe a period of infidelity, with there being 2 parties here. It'll only hit for some. And then somebody being brokenhearted, particularly in the autumn, and feeling sort of left out on their own. With it being an air card as well, this is like being left to their own intellectual devices, potentially somebody being betrayed and then left to logically get themselves out of a puzzle of how to do something. So this tells me it wasn't just an emotional battle. It wasn't like just getting yourself back on the straight and narrow in some way. It was also, how am I going to solve this problem of, you know, feeding myself, or being in a new town, or living somewhere new when I've divorced from a partner, or navigating this friendship group when one of the friends betrayed me, or whatever it is, right? And that may be why this person took a step away, because the hermit, for me, can be quite air as well. But equally, this could be that after the fight they were ghosted and then they took time to kind of repair their heart, because in the traditional Smith-Waite this would be the heart with the swords through. This can also be a wistfulness, a kind of nostalgia. The person coming to the realization that yes, we fought a lot, and yes, I was left out on my own, but actually once I'd logically sort of deduced what was next for me after this period, I started to feel like there was a lot to look back on, right? These leaves blowing in the wind and the combination of air energy in autumn makes me think of sort of fond memories, diarising, that kind of a thing. So it could be, if you're this person sort of wanting to make up for stuff, there is a potential energy of a person coming to a similar point where they're almost ready to forgive after starting to get to the stage where it's like, there are things I miss now as well. It's not just angry. It's not just this 5 of wands. But what I would say again is that particularly if this person was left out on their own in their sort of wolfishness, with it being a werewolf, they had to really bring in this logical air energy to navigate the dichotomy between their 2 selves, between their 2 sides, between extreme anger and pain and functionality and smiling and maybe kind of having to pretend to be fine in front of everyone else. And that has been a real uphill battle for them with this mountain in the background. So don't rush it, right? Again, steady pacing with all of this. If you're the other person, if you're this hermit and you had to go through all this, again, I feel like you might be coming into the energy of wistfulness about it, or of at least being able to feel gratitude for what was and pull out the lessons that you have experienced. Maybe even start to re-romanticize your surroundings. And like I say with this alligator, see what it is that you're after, as well as just the emotional weight of everything that's happened so far. 9 of Pentacles is quite a single energy, so this again could speak to this if it's romantic. But with this as well, and with it being kind of Gulliver's Travels and about being bigger and smaller, there is somebody here who feels so much bigger than the circumstances that they were in, that it is almost incredible to behold for those people who were left behind out of this. So depending on whether you are seeing yourself as betrayer or betrayed, and whether this was a major or minor incident, because for some of you it's quite minor, this is kind of either stepping into your power knowing that you're 10 times bigger than anything that happened to you, or looking on with awe to the level at which someone has just acclimatized, reset their mind, and achieved a lot in your absence, despite what you did to them. And I think it's coming through as single because perhaps whether or not this is romantic, that person took a lot of time away from people to process what went on. With the Seven of Wands being about defense and this card being about kind of a sexual overwhelm situation, again, with a couple of kind of group things, this could be pointing to what the romantic betrayal was. You know, somebody having a lot of things on the go, a lot of plates spinning, etc. But if it's not romantic, this is still a sense of potential for defensiveness, potential for feeling like it's all going to come crashing down. Really, it speaks to whichever party needs to do the forgiving, feeling easily triggered by this still. So if you want to be forgiven, kid gloves, right? Eggshells, okay? With the sun coming out, I think that there is possibility for reconciliation of the situation or between you. Or if this is like a professional thing or something, this is like a good collaboration, something that's going to happen that's quite positive for everyone concerned, a happy work environment returning, etc. It's just saying there is hope at the end of all of this, but we needed to sort of explicitly state what's gone on for all parties, because the way of trying to mend and trying to get back in hasn't been working quite as well as it should. Okay, so with this Knave of Air, it's decorator energy, and I'm I'm hearing an extremely northern and terrible phrase, which is, you know, after an encounter with someone, there is the phrase, came out looking like a painter's radio, right? So again, with it being a sex deck and with this being possibly relationship based, there could be something to do with that. Maybe one of you or the other of you is fantasizing. Maybe there was something about that you're nostalgically looking back on. You do you, boo, right? The other thing I'm getting from this imagery, oddly, is like Guardians of the Galaxy and Peter Quill listening to his headphones in order to kind of cope in deep space when he is, as far as he knows, the only human or Terran that he's going to come across his entire life. So, I mean, yes, Page of Swords can be sort of spying. It can be immaturity with words. It can be singing little ditties, you know, that sort of young childlike energy with music. But more than any of that, what I'm feeling is that one or both of you may have used sound to cope with alienation. And I don't know whether that's affirmations, whether that's songs, whether that's communicating covertly through music, you know. If one of these people hasn't been in touch, check your Spotify, see who's watching you, see what your numbers are like on different playlists that might be meaningful, all that kind of stuff. Because there's something here about communicating with the air, with vibration, with music, with words, in a way that's sort of, it's not covert because it's not sneaky energy, but it's like one person is coping using this and the other is seeing it, right? So if you've been, for example, heartbroken and you made a playlist, maybe the other person has seen that. Or if you've put out a memo to the rest of your group saying, hey, this thing happened, I don't really trust this person, what do I do about it? There is a sense that that person's got wind of this information. You know, wind, air, right? It's that they have literally heard on the wind, on the grapevine, what it is that your opinion is of them now. And if you're the person who's succeeded in picking yourself back up, then they are looking away from you, partly because you are this overwhelming figure who would be seen with awe. They're doing a little dance, they're doing the Peter Quill immaturity thing, they're coping on their own, right? Remember as well that Peter Quill is the energy of like a Don Juan or a philanderer type thing, which speaks to these. So, you know, somebody's going about the same old shit again in that sense, but it's in order to cope with a sense of greater alienation. So if that's you and you're seeking forgiveness because you've been, you know, less than ethical with your practices around somebody or something like that, the advice from Spirit is don't turn your music up and have a dance off. Actually address it, actually turn back towards this person and say, what does it look like from their perspective? What has their time looked like in this little break? What do they feel they can't trust me because of? And how can I genuinely make that up over a longer sequence of time? Seven of Swords with this sort of reveal, right? Because she's kind of flashing in this card. My feeling with this is that if there has been any subterfuge or shady behaviour, trickster energy, again, it's being revealed, it's coming into the light. There is one person out of this with these stars expressing that they wish to change, that they wish to be different. Now, whether you see that as wishing on a star and fanciful and a bit extreme is up to you, but the intention is absolutely there to transcend how it is that they've been behaving. And with the Four of Wands to finish off, they are seeking stability by reciprocity. Again, this guy is helping this woman to feel better about her day, shall we say, just because of YouTube. And I think that that is, again, this love bombing energy of someone wanting to over make it up in order to make it up. But as well as kind of a face of pleasure, this woman to me looks like she's thinking, she's weighing it up. She's going, is this good head? Is this enough? Is this what I want? It's like, should I forgive you? He's hard at work, and meanwhile she's like, do I kick him in the face when this is over? Do I turn him out onto the street or no? Now, this is advice for both of you, right? Because for the person that's trying to be forgiven, and again, it doesn't have to be romantic, and this may be a crude analogy if it's familial, for which I apologise, but it's still for you, right? But for the person trying to make it up, it's saying, you don't have to go above and beyond for this person in every possible way, because they're still deciding whether to forgive you, even if you do, right? Again, small, measured, bit by bit actions to build up to a sense of, you know what, I'm a really reliable person and I genuinely regret what I did and wish for better. And then if you're this other person, it's to say, this individual that's trying to get your forgiveness or trying to get back into your trust in some way, they're trying to demonstrate reliability. Whether they're doing a shit job or whether they're going so overboard with it that you no longer trust them because of that, they are actually trying, and that needs to be acknowledged, right? So it's not really fair of this woman to be going, should I kick him out of the house after this, after I've got mine? You know, if there's a tendency towards vengeance because of how alone you were made to feel during this, or how it affected the rest of your life, you know, socially, professionally, whatever it is, you need to curb that in order to get to this stability, this balance. It can't be attained by punishing this person for what they did. Yes, let them make it up to you. Yes, keep the boundaries, keep the clear communication that we had the last time round. Draw lines in the sand, have high standards. We love that on this channel, good for you. But don't let that be an excuse to mistreat them back because of how hurt you once felt, or the fact that there is still this wolfish energy of, I could lapse back into, I'm really furious about this. Don't let the wolf within you take over if it's you that's been hurt in some way, whether that way is major or minor, just because these few days that we're speaking about might be a bit of a volatile time, but they're also a time within which someone is genuinely trying to leave their distractions in the past, look at you with fresh eyes, understand what you've experienced out of this instead of just everything being all about them, and actually make it up to you. So, if this was useful, if it resonated, please hit me up in the comments. Click like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. If you'd like to see more lunar readings, I do 4 a month, so that's as good a reason to subscribe as any. Thank you to my present subscribers, if I didn't say that. I do appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to book with me, the link is in the description. And if not, I just hope you have a really fun and productive few days, and that the balance is reset with this and you feel empowered as a result. Take care, guys.